Hello, welcome. Happy 2026, Happy New Year. Welcome to a new year, folks. Really quick update from me. I'm back to show you some interesting things. Now, what we're looking at here is a lovely trend graph of the S&P 500 performance by presidential term. Now, you too can get into these. It's all available on Macro Trends. Macrotrends.net. They've got a ton of these amazing interactive charts. I don't get any kickback from them, but hey, if you want to, sure, I'll take it, Macro Trends. But yeah, the way that I have filtered this, you'll come to appreciate in just a moment why I've filtered it to just these presidents. But over here, the reason I wanted to make this video is a lot of people, including myself, are noticing that the S&P 500 is right at the top of a very long-term trend line, and when it usually hits that trend line, it wants to correct. It could be a 20% drawdown. People I respect, like Tom Lee, are saying potentially a 20% drawdown this year, but ultimately a positive year. Gareth Soloway is a little more bearish, but he's also hedging his bets. He's better on the short term anyway. I wouldn't trust what Gareth Soloway says a year out. Tom Lee, though, usually so far he's been right on the money. Not exactly, like he did call for like over 7,000 for the S&P, which is over here, and at the moment we're not too far off. I mean, look, he was 10 points off. Where did we get to? We got to 688, 6,000. Yeah, now we're at 6,900. Anyway, not too bad. But yeah, the S&P is looking interesting. So what I want to do here is just clone this trend line here. It does have more to go. So that is on the logarithmic scale. I wouldn't be surprised if we actually hit that by at some point this year. Maybe now, maybe we rally all the way up and hit it, maybe we don't. Anyway, park that thought. The SMH, the semiconductor index, definitely looks like it's at resistance, put it that way. Maybe it'll go parabolic and go right through this, but it has a strong history of not. At least will try to correct back down. It does feel and look technically like it needs to revisit at least its 200-day moving average here. That's the red line. If not, at the very least, the bull market support band, which is here, these two blue lines. I'll just put this on for you so you can see the 21-week EMA and the 20-week SMA. It's more or less, when did it revisited it very briefly for some liquidity in November. I would say if it revisits it again, so that liquidity is possibly not going to be there like it was in November to really rocket it off. It might do a little bit of a dead cat bounce around here, but then fall through. And ultimately, I think we're definitely going to hit this 200-day moving average this year, at least. It could get more hurty than that. We could go down to visit the 55 EMA, or worst case, I say the 200-week. Now, if we did that from here, that is a brutal 40% or longer or bigger correction. Could the SMH do it? Yes, barring some, it would take some geopolitical destabilizing stuff, but hey, there's always Taiwan, or it could just be Trump doing what he does best and shitting on the tariffs all over again. So the last time we almost visited the 200 was in April, which is not too long ago. So I don't think we're actually going to be due to revisit that, but I do see us revisiting the 200-day. That's a more reasonable drawdown of, around 20 to 25%, thereabouts. It would be nice to see that bounce of the liquidity come from this zone here. And if it's not here, it'll be close by at the what I call the bear market support band. So the Nasdaq's looking kind of similar. We made a top in October, and we've been sort of flagging sideways. Can't tell yet whether or not this is bull or bear. I kind of think it's bear because it is a rising wedge. After topping out, we have not got the momentum to break out. Maybe we will, but it's becoming harder and harder to do so. So I wouldn't be surprised with this rounding top and this rejection from the top and then this sort of rising wedge if we do fall down and need to hit liquidity from either here or more likely the 55 the what's this one again, the 21 month, the 21 month EMA. But yeah, so look, there is a very high likelihood this year of that's a very reasonable thing that's a healthy thing for the Nasdaq to do. Now, I wouldn't say it's going to be any more than that, and the reason is because of this graph here. So what we're looking at here is I've filtered this to just the presidents that had their entire 4-year terms healthily either side of a Shemitah year. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say a Shemitah year, you'll have to revisit a couple of my earlier videos, but the gist is that every 7 years, we have what's called a Shemitah year, and that is a year of financial reset. And the reasons for it, I won't go into now, but it does happen like clockwork. The last one was in 2022. The next one's in 2028, 2029. And there are certain presidential cycles that happen to be beautifully between all of these. So I've removed the ones that aren't, that coincided with them, and it's left with Trump, Eisenhower, Biden, Trump again, lucky for him, Bush, Reagan, Obama, and Kennedy. And I'm only going to look at the first term because second term, some of them do actually overlap with a Shemitah. So the first 48 months. And as you can see by this trend, I'll see if I can zoom in just a little bit more. From the beginning of their term to the end of the 4 years, every single one of them are positive. Now, we do happen to be due for a corrective event this year. So by as early as, let's have a look here, as early as month 15, but as late as month 20. So between month 15 and 20, it's a bottom will be put in for the market. We're currently in month 12. Yeah. So the top is either already in or not far off. And you'll watch for the next 5 to 10 months, the stock market, this is the S&P, by the way, but I can tell you that I couldn't really see the Nasdaq pumping while the S&P rolls over. But, the stock market will be flat to negative for the next 5 to 10 months, meaning you can pretty much sleep on this year and then buy in like late Q3. It's like the easiest cheat sheet ever. Oops, sorry about that. But yeah, so I wanted to show you that. After that, it's blue skies. Next year is going to be an unbelievably amazing year. Don't believe the fear that's going to be about 2027. I know there's a lot of fear, and we will do a separate video about that when the time comes. But if you can get through this year and buy in, my suggestion is, keep a little stockpile, a war pile aside of cash and investment, and do not deploy that until late Q3. Hold everything. You don't believe the fear. That's all I wanted to say. Yeah, I don't know how many minutes I've got left. I have a 10-minute max on this recording software because I refuse to pay for the pro license. I think I can get everything I wanted across in 10 minutes, and I'll use the last few minutes I have to say is I do moonlight as a music producer, and I have a single coming out really soon. I'm super excited to share it with you. It is blowing me away, and I can't wait for you to hear it. So keep an eye on the channel. Please subscribe. Please thumbs this video up and leave me a comment. It can be anything. You can bag me out. You can give me some encouragement, whatever. It really helps.